Batra Daf Samach Zayin Amud Aleph, 16 lines down. Continuing in our conversations about what's considered sold when you sell something without specifying. So, the Ezra in the Mishnah we mentioned, if you sell the courtyard, you're only selling the open space, nothing else is included. Well, Tanakama holds that some things are included. Now, there are different ways of saying the word a courtyard. If the guy said, I'm selling you a dirta is a word for a hatzer, but it means residence. So the kula amalo pligi, the batei mashma, everybody would agree, even Rabbi Isaac would agree that you are selling the house because it said residence. Keep going to machloket amar darta. He said darta is closer to residence, the wording, but it means a courtyard. So in that case, more savar tarbitza mashma. Rabbi Elazar holds that no, I meant open space, garden / courtyard. I did not mean the house. But more savar the mashma, while Tana Kamal hold that the houses are included. Yikadam different version. Maraba ida amar darta. If he said darta to kulam elo pligi the bate mashma, he believes that he is included. Even if the Ezra would say it's consoled. He pligi amar hatzer. He said a hatzer. More savar hatzer havir mashma. Rabbi Elazar holds that it's not included the houses because it means a courtyard. But more savar hatzer mishkan. But Tana holds no. Even though you just said hatzer, it is included. Why? Because we see from the Mishkan when we mention hatzer, it would include all the structures and all the kadosh vessels. And therefore, it's an inclusive language, and it is included. If you sold a riverbed or a sand field to someone else, if you did a hazakah on one of them, on the sand field, you don't require the riverbed. If you did hazakah on the riverbed, you don't require the sand field. We had this concept previously. Can you do a hazakah on one another? Like we had mentioned, I believe it was a house inside a house, or one courtyard for another courtyard. So now we're going to say Inni, that's so. If I sell you 10 fields in 10 different countries, 10 different towns, I do hazakah on one of them, you acquire all 10. So we see that you can acquire one for the other. So how come you can't do one hazakah on the riverbed for the sand field and vice versa? Where it says, the reason why the fields, because land, earth, is all connected to each other. In all fields. So therefore, if I do one, I acquire all of them. They're kind of attached to all the same item. Over here, regarding the sand field, the riverbed, each property is a different function, and therefore, if I want to acquire both, I have to do separate acquisitions, acts. The Ikadam a different version. You acquire one, you do acquire the other. So the pshita was now we're going to do the opposite thing. Well, of course it is. We know regarding 10 fields, you can acquire one for 10. The reason why you might think over there, we're going the inverted scenario. You might think by the fields it would work because all connected in the all same usage. In the case of the field and the river, different functions. Therefore, even though it's different functions, you can acquire both. Okay, the Mishnah. Selling an olive press without specifying. Machar Tayam is selling the pool, looks like that is. Betamala, the crusher. Veda Betulot, the literally means the woman, but it means pieces of wood. Avalo Machar Avidim Bina selling the boards. Betagalgal, the wheel. Betakura, the beam. We'll explain each one of them, the Gemara. Ubizmachimala, but he mentioned to the buyer, I'm selling you the olive press, everything included. They're all sold. But it says, I'm selling the olive press, the house of the olive press. Machar Takura, you're even selling the beam. Okay, we mentioned in the Mishnah, Yam pool, Zed Tlavcha, this is the vat that the things are crushed into. Mama, the crusher, Mafrachta, that's the mortar which is crushing the olives. Bitlot, when it says the maidens, the woman, this is referring to the pieces of wood that support the beam on both sides. Avim boards, Kavsha is referring to the plank of wood that's on top that holds the item. Galgel is the screw that the item that concoction that holds the screw that lowers and raises the beam. Quran, the beam is the Quran is the beam that actually crushes the pulp. I'm selling the olive press without saying what's inside. You sell the blocks. That's like the thing on top. That's the rim, so things don't spill. But the vats. and these are the mortars. Also the lower millstone. All these things are attached, and therefore they're part of the sale. No, not the upper millstone because it's detached. It was much but he mentioned to the buyer, I'm selling you everything and everything inside. Sold. However, whether or not he added that, you don't sell the boards, not the sacks, not the leather sacks, because those things are used to transport things or are very, very movable, and therefore I'm not selling you the sacks that I used to that I used to hold the olives. That's not part of the olive press. It doesn't really says if you're selling the olive press, you are selling the beam. Because it's considered an olive press because it presses the olives. And what presses the olives? The beam. Therefore, it's included. Mishnah. You're selling the bathhouse. You're not selling the boards. The basin. Also the bathing accessories. All right, so the boards is referring to the movable boards that people put next to their feet so they don't get wet if they don't want to. The basins is what you'd have in front of you, like a bowl that you would use to wash yourself. It's also not attached. But he mentions to the buyer how to heave selling everything inside also. Then go whether or not I told you everything, however, I didn't tell you the water reservoirs, not the woodsheds, because those things the owner would use for himself as well. It wasn't exclusive to the bathhouse. Okay, number nine. I'm selling a bathhouse. Selling the closet for the boards. The closet for the turbans. They used to have head towels they would use. The basin, the closet for the basins, the closet for the towels. So the closets were sold. Not the boards themselves, not the turbans themselves, not the basins themselves, not the towels themselves. It was much but I mentioned the whole everything inside as well. Also. However, whether or not I told you everything, I didn't tell you the reservoirs that supply the bathhouse. Not whether it's in the dry season or not in the water season. Why make a difference? Why would it be included? Because even in the dry season, when there's barely any water, therefore you might think it's considered just a room. No, it teaches you that it's considered a reservoir, as if it's filled with water, and that's considered separate. I mentioned I'm telling you the bathhouse and the accessories, even the woodshed and the reservoirs are all sold. The guy told his friend, I'm selling you the olive press and all the accessories. There were these stores outside the olive press, we'll call them like rooms adjacent to it, that have a they would spread out sesame seeds to dry before crushing. So the buyer said, I bought the accessories. That's considered an accessory. After the committee letter, they came to the business for Psak, I said we had a brighter that says if you sell everything, including accessories, everything is sold. The Gemara says, whoa. The says that's not true. And Rabbi mentioned that not everything is sold. So how do we look at it? He says, okay, fine. I don't know about Sheh, Hazini went to check the document. Now, it depends on the boundaries. It depends on the physical deed. Did you draw out the spot of these sesame seed stores next to it is part of the boundaries? If it is included in the sale, it's sold. If not, not. Okay, no Mishnah. I'm selling a town. Right? Goals. Mahad Batim Borot Shechim Marot. We're selling included in the town is the houses, pits, ditches, and caves. Mahatzot v'sholachot. Bathhouses and birdhouses. Beta Badin, Beta Shalachin, olive presses, and Beta Shalachin usually means irrigated fields. We'll see in the Gemara. Avallo Metatlin, you're not selling the movable property, right? You're not going to keep my basketball court. We was trying to know, but if you sold maybe the court is maybe not the basketball. Okay, if I told him you're buying the town and everything inside, even if they're animals or slaves inside, they are sold. Rashbag says, I'm selling a town. You're even selling the samter. We'll see in the Gemara what that is.